Hey everybody, so I just wanted to share some quick tips on how to make sure that your Anbernic devices are showing full screen every time you launch a game from the same system. So this is how to set the screen size on every game at the system level. And I'm not an expert with RetroArch, but this is how you learn. And some of you, I'm sure, have figured out how to do it universally for all systems. I haven't figured out how to do that yet, but maybe if you have another tip, you can share it. But basically what we have here is we have this is the Anbernic RG35XXSP. And as you can see, it's running with this overlay, what they call the overlay, which is this treatment for the system. And it looks like this because this is the Nintendo Entertainment System, the Japanese version, which was the Famicom. So this was the color of that system, and they have this obnoxious overlay, and it's not going full screen. This is the RG34XXSP, and this system is a little smaller. It has analog sticks, and actually the screen is a little smaller to be widescreen for optimized for the Game Boy Advance. But as you can see, I have a NES game, the original Legend of Zelda, and I wanted it to just be forced widescreen, even if it stretches, because hey, the screen is small, as it is. So who needs to skimp out on that? So as you can see, it is running full screen, stretched out a little bit, but you get the screen real estate, and we would like that to happen. It's pretty much the same on both devices, so I'll be going through that right now. It was a little bit frustrating. It took a lot of trial and error to figure out, and then at first I figured it out, but it was per game, and you don't want to have to go through this per game, right? So basically, the first thing that you want to make sure of is that one thing really quick, I want to add another tip. These newer ones, or it's newer stock, the latest firmware, because I actually bought this after this one. Even this is a newer model, but this has a newer firmware on it than another one. My wife has one, and it had the FC Famicom and that's the NES or Super Famicom already on it, but this one, the system didn't show up. So if you remove the SD card and you drag your ROMs into the FC or Super Famicom folders, the system will show up in RetroArch. But what you want to make sure of for these settings is that you are, in fact, using the RetroArch emulator when you run the game. So one thing that was really frustrating was I was going through here, and if you just go to Game ROMs and you go through, so if you're going through the Game ROMs menu, and let's say you launch a game through here, it might not run the game using RetroArch. It's using another emulator. You guys probably know which one, but it won't obey any of those settings. It won't obey the full screen settings if you do that. Let me make sure. Are we focused? I don't know. So the first thing you want to do is you want to make sure when you launch your game, or you can favorite the game, make sure you go through RA game. And one thing I found was interesting was I set the RetroArch settings at this OS level, and the game wasn't obeying it. So what you have to do is you actually have to launch a game. So I'm going to go into RA game, and what was just giving me trouble was the Nintendo. So let's just do Nintendo, which is FC for Famicom. Japanese designation, but that's an NES, same thing. So we're going to just launch any game. Now we're in RetroArch, and we're going to launch, 8 eyes. That's fine. And what this is going to do is this is going to make sure that our screen settings stick for every game we play for this system. So as you can see, again, this is annoying. Why? Because, well, the screen resolution isn't that far off from what it's putting in here. I just want it to punch it out. It might stretch it a little bit, but I don't want this overlay. So we're going to hit the menu button. And first we're going to just set all the settings, and then we're going to set the override for the core. That's the basic idea. So on-screen overlay, and we're going to turn that off. So it says display overlay off. Then we'll go back, and let's see, go to settings, video, and scaling. We'll go down to aspect ratio full. And then we're good. And then all I have to do is go into, I believe it's main menu, quick menu. And we're going to go to overrides. There it is, overrides. And we're going to say, not game overrides, save core overrides. And it says override saved successfully. So now if we quit, watch what happens if we relaunch this game. Just give me a second. Okay, and let's relaunch 8 Eyes. And I know. So there you go. Look at that. Full screen. So now we go through. If you go ahead and see. Oh, that looks great. Much better. So just to show you that, so you can go ahead and favorite the games, but make sure you favorite them from this RA game, RetroArch, and that way it launches the RetroArch emulator to run the game. So let's launch a different game and make sure that it is in fact sticking no matter what game it is. So if we launch Zelda 2, because we have a core override, and you'll see it right here. It'll say configuration override, and look at that, it's full screen. Very, very nice. So this is doing it for every system. And you know what's funny about this is that this unit's firmware, at least, it has a RetroArch setting at the main. This is the main OS menu. Oops, sorry. And you can go in here and go to RetroArch settings, but it just doesn't, I don't know, it just doesn't stick. You have to go to do it by launching an individual game from RetroArch. So I'll go through it one more time. I have to find a system I haven't done it for yet. So I think that Mega Drive, I've done it already. I think we tried like our TurboGrafx-16, which is PC Engine. I did in fact do RA game, yeah, okay. PC Engine, which we know here in the US is the TurboGrafx-16. And let's go ahead and watch Hudson's Adventure Island, I think, or maybe this is a different game. And does it have the obnoxious, oh yes it does, look at that. There's some obnoxious overlay, and it's not stretched to full screen. So we're gonna go to menu again, go to on-screen overlay from the quick menu if you're not there. So actually the actual menu is main menu, let's see, main menu, quick menu, on-screen overlay off, display overlay off. Then we go to settings, video, scaling, aspect ratio, full. And then we're going to go back to main menu, quick menu, and we got to save this overrides, save core overrides. There we go. And we'll restart the game. And I'm going to launch a different game just to prove to myself that it actually is sticking for the PC Engine, aka TurboGrafx-16. So let's launch Blazing Lasers. That's fun. Is that the one? All your base are belong to us. Is that the game? Configuration. Yeah, this is the one. Configuration override loaded. So you can see it stretched a little bit, but that's like way better, isn't it? Way better just to see the whole game. Even if it's stretched, it's like, who cares? I get to see the whole thing. So for these these consoles that were running in 4x3, the stretching isn't too bad, but for this one, because it's a wider screen display, the stretching is more pronounced on an NES game or 4x3 game. But when you run Game Boy Advance, you don't get any of that at all because it's the perfect screen size. But I think it did have an overlay, so you can do whatever you want. You can just turn the overlay off and tweak the aspect ratio. But anyway, that's how you do it. Hope this was helpful to you, And or maybe if you have a better way, just add to the comments. Have a great day.